So in the fall of 2019 until the spring of 2022, you worked with Big Rec.
Mhm.
And so it's like a pandemic sandwich with Big Rec. So just in between those two, there was the pandemic. The pandemic like decimated the live event industry. How much did that affect you? And how were you able to kind of adapt to what was going on during that period?
How much time we got left? We got another 2 hours.
Yeah, I guess the rapid fire through.
Yeah. Yeah. So just yeah, big wreck for a sec. Yeah, I got working with them. A colleague, Andrew Brown, Slipper. He couldn't do their tour, and he had some commitments with some other artists. So he asked me to do that gig. So it was a 3 month tour. I took it gladly. Always been a fan of Big Rack and being a guitar player, like, in Canada, rock guitar player, like who doesn't, worship Ian Thornley, right? And is playing, like, this guy's just insane. He's an alien. So gladly took that gig, did the tour. I gotta say, like, that was probably the most memorable tour that I've done. Um, Never any real specific events, but just the surroundings, like the band themselves, the show themselves, the crew, best crew I've ever worked with. Shaner, Kirby, and Kai. The four of us just went, and I think that we absolutely killed it. Green and the gang on that tour. But then, yeah, shortly after that, months, boom, pandemic, right, and we're all at home. Um, yeah, that was a hard one to take, because it's just like all these years of doing this little climb and finally working with, the bands that I'm, not that I didn't enjoy bands prior, but, Big Record really struck a chord with me, just, because of the songwriting and the guitar sounds and just, how Ian is so into every aspect of, it's a live show and, his recordings and how things are sounding up front, right? And just, so, I was working with the perfect band they should be working with, and then just when this pandemic hits. So we luckily got through with some of the drive-in shows. Management got right on that. So that summer we did have about 5 or 6 shows and some short little drive-in runs.
This is still with Big Rec?
Yeah, still with Big
Okay.
Red. Yeah, so that summer of 2020, um, a couple of drive-in shows, and then we did more of that the next year. We were doing, like, we actually had a couple of tour bus runs, but we were so isolated. Like, we, man, just like, okay, can't go to a restaurant. Well, not much was open anyway during that summer, but there's a couple places you go in and get takeout, and it's like, no, we're getting food delivered to the bus, and really, we were in masks the whole summer. So it really changed, like, the environment and the freedom that we felt, that we never thought would go away. I honestly thought, like, this is why I really got into live sound. After I did the studio thing, because it's like live sound will never go away. Like, with studios, where people having home studios and that, like, it might, like, from back in the day when I was doing it until, like 10 years ago, so many people started having studios at home and going that route. So I'm like, okay, that's drying up a little bit. I got it back in the live sound thing, and okay, this is never going to go away. Well, I was dead wrong. That's for sure. So we got through doing the driving stuff for those 2 summers. In 21, it was so definitely starting to open up quite a bit more, and then we started touring normally, quite normally in the just before Christmas of 2021. Took a little break, and we went out on another run in the spring. That was probably a little bit longer. It was about 3 weeks across Canada. And then a bunch of us actually got COVID on that run. So that tour got cut short, 2 or 3 shows short. So we all went home a little bummed. It was probably for me, probably the lowest point of touring I think I've ever had in my life. Because we're just getting back to it. I'm trying to find my way of, being content with what was going on and trying to play by the rules a little bit, and then still get kind of burnt by it, and and just yeah, and just getting used to touring again. Because it was just home for like 2 years, right? So honestly, during that run, I had a bit of a hard time during that one and getting used to it, and again. And getting COVID, getting really sick, and it really hit me bad. The guys thought I was dead in my bunk. Yeah, I think I didn't get out of my bunk for 36 hours. deadheading home from it west. So it was definitely, there's been some definite real effects to it, and while trying to get back to normal. That led me to take a little break from Big Rec. They went on a U.S. run, and got Charlie Ferguson back, who's their like OG original sound tech. We got to talk about Charlie for a sec, because the guy's legend, and it was a pleasure to see that, me having to take a break to have Charlie back in with the guys. Like who could you ask for better than the original, guy out on those original, tours, right? For memory of In Pleasure and the Greed. So wonderful to see him back with them. They're in amazing hands, and during that time too is when I got that offer for JJ Wild, right? And ended up starting something new here.
So someone that can vouch for your time with Big Rec is their drummer, Sekou Lumumba.
Right.
He says, Dan is the man. I love his mixing as he mixes us very drum heavy, and he's a great hang. He has a great temperament for babysitting grown children while still doing a really incredible job as front of house and tour manager. Love that guy, and I hope to get to work with him again soon. From Sekou.
Yeah, I think he said that similar or the exact same quote in his podcast there. It was really really nice to hear that. I miss those guys, they're out doing their thing, and I'm doing my thing. They're buddies, right? And I always will be. And it's very nice to hear those kind words. It's crazy hearing all this nice stuff. I don't feel like I'm not nice of a guy, but I guess I am.
It's we all struggle to accept the compliments and the kind words, but
Oh yeah.
sometimes it's good to hear some nice words.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's great. Yeah.